Blonde Netflix review. Let's talk about it, man. What's good, guys? Your boy Good Savage back again for another movie review. In the title of the video. Yeah, man, I just finished watching this movie still. I ain't happy about it. I was hoping to come away feeling happy about it, feeling blown away. Just to tell my missus that she was wrong, because she told me, she watched it before me and she said, listen, it started off well. She was messaging me in between. This movie's really good. It's better than I thought. And then by the end, she was outraged, and I was like, okay, let me see what happens. And quite soon within the movie, I'd say about 20 minutes in, I kind of gathered what the issue was. But I was like, let me give it a chance. Yeah, I ain't happy about it. And we're going to talk about this, man. So first of all, it's a biopic on Marilyn Monroe. If you don't know who Marilyn Monroe is, you're probably a weirdo or you're not human, like that. She's probably, I don't know, in terms of, a chart or whatever, but she's probably the most famous woman of all time in terms of celebrity. So she's a big deal, isn't it? She was an actress back in the day, 50s, I think it was when she became an actress. And yeah, she's a big deal. She died a while ago, and there was conspiracies around her death to do the US president, JFK, all of this rubbish. But this was really about her life. Now, you guys, what is his name? Andrew Dominic, the screenwriter of this movie. He could have done me a favor. You could have done us all a big favor in the beginning of this movie, that in the title scene, you could have told us it was a fantasy or it was based on a book. And if you told me what book it was based on, I probably wouldn't have watched it, because I didn't read the book, but I knew about the outrage on the book prior. I think the book was released when I was about 10 years old, and people wasn't happy about it back then because it kind of mugged her off a little bit. It treated her like a piece of meat. Now, to this day, people who don't know about Marilyn Monroe but just know of her, they only speak of her as a piece of meat, as some Hollywood whore who didn't have no talent, and that's it. That's all she was, and she slept with the president. That's all people speak of her, and I'm sure that's not true. Governing from people who are friends of Marilyn Monroe and documentaries and stuff like that, she was an intelligent woman, a troubled woman in some facts due to her childhood with mum putting her in, well, her going into an orphanage, her mum being in a mental home, not knowing who her dad was, all of these different things. So it does have a bearing on who she is. So she had a bit of like, I don't know, man, separation issues with what I mean, and men treating her a certain way. And the time scale says that anyway. So I don't need any you woke warriors coming on here telling me, what I mean, you got the new men who just want to tell me about that women are terrible and all this business. And then you got the other side where they're trying to tell us that all men are scumbags. It's not the truth. But back in the day, we can all agree that it wasn't good for women back in the day. Yeah, I think we'll side to the fact that there was more scumbag men in power than there are now, and laws and all these different laws and rights and stuff to protect women now wasn't there back in the day, and we're still fighting that now. Now, this Andrew guy who wrote this, bro, first of all, there were so many lies in this that it was hard to. I just watched it because I was already into it, and to be fair to the actors in the movie, they didn't do anything wrong. There wasn't any bad acting in it. I think Ana de Armas, I thought she was great as Marilyn Monroe. I think she was absolutely great. And if anybody knows her as an actress already, you know that she's got a strong accent. I think she's Cuban. The last movie I probably seen her in was the Bond film. I think she's a great. I say great. I think she's a really good actress who can definitely elevate herself to being great. And I think a performance like what she put on in this will elevate her career. But at the same time, it was a great performance in a terrible movie. Now, there's other famous people in it. Adrian Brody's in it. He's dope in everything, can he? But he didn't have a massive part to play in this, but his acting was good for the best part of it. But as I said, I just want to get her out of the way. That's a positive of the movie. She was great as Marilyn Monroe. She really sold it. I felt bad for her in the movie, so she definitely done something there. And I felt the accent was great. It dropped off a few points, but like I said, she got a strong Cuban accent. But for a lot of the time, she sounded really good. She looked like her. She sold the on-screen acting. She was acting within acting, if that makes any sense. So obviously, because Marilyn Monroe was an actor, there's parts of the movie where it's showing Marilyn Monroe's movies and she's playing her, and she does it really good. And I know about them movies because me and my nan used to watch them together and stuff. So she was really good in the cinematography and the cinematic director was really good for the best part of this. Now, obviously, there's loads of departments and stuff, but they got some of Marilyn Monroe's most iconic moments caught on camera in this movie visually as a video, like moving, and they done it perfect. If you match them up to each other, they look dead perfect. Obviously, I think is the 7 Year Itch is probably the most famous Marilyn Monroe photo of all time with the dress over the train station, the subway's thingy vent. They caught that perfect as well, and that's where the positive stopped for the whole movie. The visuals and Ana de Armas. After that, the movie's terrible. We don't need any more Marilyn Monroe movies now. I think we're getting to a point in age where we've seen too many movies of the same things and the same problems keep happening or the same things keep going wrong. Or sometimes the movies are great, but we don't need to see any more of them. So I think we should kick this out now. Marilyn Monroe is a person. She's had enough bio to get no more now. There's too many of these movies where they keep getting done and they're not doing it justice. And it feels like that. I honestly believe this. It feels like the director doesn't like Marilyn Monroe. Like he has an issue. I don't know if she slept with his dad and his mom found out something. I don't know what happened, but he doesn't like her because the lies what we're told in this, and of course they told us as a fantasy now, but you didn't tell us within the movie. So anyone who doesn't know about Marilyn Monroe, so I'm going to watch this movie to find out about her. You're just going to think she's some whore with daddy issues. And there's a part in the movie where she's in a what do you call it? You woke people, you polyamorous, poly fucking. You know what I'm saying when you're with more than one person at the same time. She's with like that Edward Donny Jr. and Charlie Chaplin's son, and they're having like a threesome and they're out of nowhere. When I mean out of nowhere, I'm saying out of nowhere. I wanted to cover my dog's eyes. Out of nowhere, she went to some acting circle. She walked up to them. They were on a piano. One started dancing with her. The next thing, he was in a room talking about your body should be seen. And then they were just toozing her up. Like, I don't understand what was going on. And there's no report of this happening in real life. I'm convinced the director's a bit of a perv. Any chance he had to have Ana de Armas naked, he had her naked. I'm not gay or anything, but I'm just saying we don't need it. It didn't serve any purpose of the story at all. Fair enough. If somebody had sex, you get up, you're naked, and it's done. That's the end of that scene. Last 2 seconds, don't need anything else. Constantly, just if you wanted to present something else other than seeing Marilyn Monroe as only a sex symbol and a piece of meat, you did a terrible job because all you did was made the actress who played Marilyn Monroe seem like a piece of meat at all times for no damn reason. None at all. At one point, when I mean early in the movie, I'm talking about first 10 minutes. Don't try and watch this with your kids around. This is, at one point, the director, when she goes for her first movie, he rapes her on it out of nowhere. And I don't understand, like, this isn't, yes, the guy in real life, the director, was known as the guy who was sexually assaulting women and taking them in the movies. It's even in the documentary. But visually, we didn't need to see it. It was just gore for no reason. It didn't serve the story. You could have alluded to it. They did when it started because the receptionist came out of the office pulling her skirt down. So all you had to do is go back in, have Marilyn come out crying, do something else, and we would have known, okay, this is what happened, because the next thing you know, she got the role. At one point, they had his penis on the screen, man. I don't want to see no penis on the screen for no reason. In a flashback, but in the original part, we didn't see it. And then in the flashback, penis on the screen. It wasn't needed. This Don is one of them weird, artsy, perverted guys. When after she was doing the threesome thing, then all of a sudden they're in the cinemas watching her on screen, and they're just doing the same thing in the cinemas. People are around and no one is noticing. There's people sitting next to them on both sides, and nobody can notice that Marilyn Monroe, is getting beat up in the cinemas. And you know what I mean by beat up, bro? This is the equivalent to Kim Kardashian sitting in the cinemas, getting toozed up, and everyone around doesn't notice. It's weird. It's very weird. Then you got the constant fetus, the embryo. At every chance they got, they wanted to zoom in on some X-ray, I don't know, into her stomach so we can see when she got pregnant and there was just a baby chilling. And then she went and got rid of the baby. Then he weren't there. Then another baby came back and he was just chilling inside. And I'm like, this isn't even a real thing. There was nothing of her going out of her way to get rid of babies. This isn't a real thing. She had miscarriages and struggled to bear a child, but there was nothing in real life stated that she was going to the doctors to get rid of a baby, which is going to be triggering to people. So you need to put that in the thing before the movie starts, because very triggering to people. Not me, I'm not soft, but at the same time, I was like, this is weird. Then this choice of cinematic, I don't know where this came from. We kept getting the point of view from inside the uterus. So you could just see like all these doctors chilling outside the vagine, and it's like I'm actually not trying to be crude here, but it felt like they had a GoPro in a uterus and it was just focusing outwards. And they did this numerous times throughout the movie. The whole JFK thing, of course, I expected that to turn up. Flipping hell, when it did, all of a sudden, JFK is a rapist. If I mention JFK, somebody will go, oh yeah, Donnie, you got shot in the head. Yeah, it's a shame still. He got shot in the head and apparently he had a relationship with Marilyn Monroe. No, not in this. This geezer just raping her while he's on the phone chilling for no reason. And the CIA agent's just sitting on his newspaper just, yeah. Oh, you're right, John. Raping again. Say no more. Carries on. Big man, I don't know if this is a fantasy, then this is a fantasy that I didn't want to be a part of your fantasy, Donnie, Andrew. I didn't want to be a part of your fantasy, bro. You should have kept this to yourself, because this is wild. I wouldn't be surprised if there's backlash over this. It feels like nobody cares about Marilyn Monroe. You made her into a piece of meat that the world already sees her as that. It was the time of 50s, this time of sexual revolution, and so I guess at that point she's famous for looking good, and all she wants is to be taken serious as an actress. But at the same time, she's getting roles based on how she looks and all this business. Fair enough. You know what I mean? Whatever you've been given, use it, innit? As long, you know what I mean? As long as you're not hurting anybody or hurting yourself. But at the same time, man, the poor woman, and the movie was going nowhere. It's the best part of 3 hours. And there's parts in this movie where you're like, when's it going to finish? Is it going to finish? You know, when you press the Netflix thing, you see the red bar at the bottom, and you realize there's still an hour and 14 minutes left. And you're like, I know her real life. There's no way there's an hour and 14 minutes left. There's so many cinematic visuals that could have been taken out, and you could have trimmed this movie down to an hour and 55 minutes or something. It didn't need to be this long. Nothing happened. Honestly, if you take away all the lies from this, nothing happened. I thought we was going to get to see a different side of Marilyn Monroe, and we didn't get to see a different side of her. You made it worse. You made her seem like some troubled whore with daddy issues. At one point, when she's married to DiMaggio and that, she just, every second sentence, she just keeps calling him daddy. Oh, I'm sorry, daddy. It's swapping daddy. I'm like, fuck, we get it. The whole time in the movie, there's a narration from a dad that she doesn't know, that she's trying to get to know. And in real life, she didn't get to know him. You know why I know this? Because I watched the news article when they found out that the man was really a dad. And guess what? Marilyn Monroe was already dead. I'm done with this review. It's been long enough already. If I have to give this a rating or something like that, out of 10, I'm going to give it a 2. In fact, I don't even know what to give it. Listen, the main actress acting was fine. You get a point for that. The visuals with the monochrome and the colors and that was fine. It really put you in the era of the 50s. You get a point for that. And just some of the regular cinematic shots and the accuracy, you get a point for that. And everything else, no. So you get 3 out of 10. Don't watch it. Listen to everything I said and just don't watch it. Everything you saw in the trailer consists of 2 seconds from half an hour of the movie, and they didn't put the rest in. And yeah, it's a shame. Flipping hell. I've been your boy Savage. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. Run. Fuck, you know.